What's going on is the Wolf, and we are back with another episode of the Wolf Has Spoken podcast, America's fastest growing, the universe's fastest growing podcast. And as always, I'm excited today. I'm going to tell y'all the many reasons why I'm excited. I'm excited because we back home. You know what I'm saying? I'm also excited to see you, Q. I'm going to start.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Joined by my co-host.
Lead with love.
And I'm extremely excited because we found ourselves joined by a very, very special guest.
Absolutely.
Miss Saiyonna Bryant, creative, entrepreneur, all around good person, woman of faith.
That's good.
Good friend of mine for many years, and someone that who I value and respect. So I'm glad to have you here, and let's get into it. So Q, all right, that's enough for Q. Saiyonna, how was your week?
No mic.
My week was good. I did Pilates for the first time this week, so that was fun.
You know you're grown. You started doing
Adventurous,
Pilates.
yeah.
You liked it?
Truly.
Pilates. Like, wait, was it like what you see on movies? Like with it's a bunch of like middle age.
For sure, what I see.
Wives and so was that.
Oh, was not the young girlies in there?
A little bit. It was a mix of both. I didn't go to one that was like really in the inner city. It's kind of like in Jenkintown,
Gotcha.
like that area.
I mean,
right? Okay,
close enough.
Cool. So yeah, I say it was a mix. Like there were some older men in there, older women. It was a few young girls, not too, but it was. When you think Pilates, you think like, for me, I think I'm gonna get like a class full of the young little.
Yeah.
I didn't think that.
I do.
Maybe I'm got a difference of what I'm expecting Pilates to be. I thought it was gonna be like older women for real.
Yeah, this ain't the 90s.
I mean, because it is like supposed to be more of like a relaxed workout. Like you're supposed to be doing like deep breathing, and it's supposed to be like low. What's the word I'm looking for? Like low.
I have a life jacket for you.
Like
low, like impact.
There you go.
Yeah.
Whereas like working out with like
there.
weights and machines and stuff is just like more like heavy set.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Okay.
I was starting thinking about low breathing. I'm have
No.
Oh,
So yeah, and then they have this thing like called a reformer, and then that's kind of how you like
Yeah, the board thing.
There you go. Yep.
So, is that what I've been seeing on the people doing the little flips with the ropes and stuff, like putting their legs through the thing?
That's it.
That's a part of it. It's trendy now. Okay, how was your week?
My week was good. First of all, my day was good this morning before we even got here.
The late day.
I mean, ish. Mainly because, it was a rare time in life that I just woke up by myself. My girl went straight to work. My daughter was over at my mom's house. And I just woke up fresh, empty bed.
I heard you getting rid of her the other day, too. She said, Queen.
Getting rid of her?
Yeah, she said she was packing for like she was moving or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's done. No, I was like, no, she was staying at my mom's house for a night or two, whatever. So the sun was shining through the window. I felt so refreshed. I was like, oh, and that's really why I was kind of late, because I kind of took advantage of my time. I'm like, no rush.
You know what?
I'm
not even mad at you.
Yeah, it's my time today.
Good morning to yourself.
Exactly. So that was fresh.
Time today.
I mean, ish. But so other than that, my week was good. And what happened? We can talk about that later on. But he had some developments. And I felt this whole week, it culminated into this morning of just being refreshed and reset.
That's what's up. You was glowing when you walked in. I knew something was different.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
makes
not
sense.
usual, but I feel you.
I can relate. I feel like it was definitely a relaxing, refresh type of week. I don't know.
That's good there.
For me,
the vibes.
it was a lot of transition this week. Well, I could just start with yesterday. I ain't seen my kids in like 9 weeks, which is it might have been a record for us. Like we didn't go that long, so that was good to see them and spend time with them. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like it been that long once we started kicking it, and we all agreed that it didn't feel like it was that long. But like leading up to it, it was like, dang, like I ain't seen them in a minute. So that was good. My travels here was sweet. It was straight to the point, and besides a lot of transitions, adjusting. And like a lot of faith this week, you know what I'm saying? Everything turned out to be amazing. God is good and always on time.
You had some trials and tribulations?
Always. Well, listen, look, man, life be lifing, but God be God. And so we just gotta go with the flow.
And I know recently we was having a discussion like, how it can be tedious to keep certain things in mind when you have things in limbo. Because like when you're going through life and transitions happening, but you trying to maybe take the next step or you see the next step, but when you're waiting for certain things to fall in place, it can keep your mind kind of like just clouded a little bit, whatever. I know me and him both went through like recent transitions. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Wolf, where it's like once certain things fall in place, it's like, whew, all right, cool. Now we can continue along a path or whatever. So I don't know if you want to lead or maybe you can relate to that or
let me like get like a understanding of what you're saying. Basically, like, because the way I'm taking what you're saying is it's like you have your micro stuff that's going on in your own personal life, but then outside of your personal life is like still stuff got to get done. Like no matter what, like there's always a bigger picture. Like you got your stuff that's going on, and then you just got like the stuff that's going on around you.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of life for sure. But I was more so saying, like, so for instance, recently I recently accepted a new job offer, but that was like over like a long period of time. So it was like certain things I was waiting for that to happen to see how I would deal with other things.
Yeah, so like the inability to use your foresight because you don't know what's next. So it's like, how can I plan out 6 months if I don't know what's happening in a week, right?
That's
so
good.
Being in a limbo is like you're in that pending phase, and it's funny because I can relate this a lot to like coming from the hood, right? And a lot of the hood mindset, right? Like when you young, you don't really think about longevity, right? Because you coming from the hood, you don't think about longevity. So you ask a young boy, like, what's your 3-year plan? What's your 5-year plan? They really can't even articulate what their next week plan is because everything is so day to day. So I think when we're in these limbo phases, it put us in like a day to day type of operation where it's like, I want to say the next Wednesday I'm available at 6, but I really don't even know where I'm gonna be at next Wednesday at 6 because I might be starting this new job or I might be out of town. So us both being in a limbo phase where I was going through housing transitioning. So it was like, I'm back and forth between here and down Georgia, whatever the case may be. So with me being back and forth and then having to move and trying to find different spots to live, I was in limbo. And for him, he was waiting on, he had took a job, but he was waiting on the actual offer or whatever the case to come through. So it affects the ability to be able to say, where are we filming? Is we filming here? Are we filming there? Is we doing this or are we doing that? So we both were just kind of like getting to the end of that at the same time. So I guess to kind of throw it back your way is like, have you ever been in a space where you knew like, all right, I want to plan, I want to set some goals, but I can't do nothing until I get this offer letter or until I get approved or until I get out of, sometimes to be getting out of a situation.
Or get closure on something.
Get closure, yeah.
Right.
Mentally cleared.
I feel like I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I think that there's definitely been seasons where it's like, okay, this is what I have going on. Like, this is what I'm planning towards. This is what my goal is. Yeah. But also at the same time, it's like, I also have so much other stuff going on that I still have to take care of business and I still have to handle these things outside of whatever that specific goal is.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of, that's where like, that's why I feel like I appreciate being in my 30s because what used to seem like it had to happen now, I feel like life slowed down so much. It's like, I don't have no desire to rush. Like literally, like I have no urge to be like, I'm juggling this, but it's like literally seasons for everything. And like when you hear it's 4 seasons for a reason, like we don't really often dissect what that means, but it's like looking at it like, yo, certain fruits can't harvest in the winter.
That's true.
And certain things can't survive in the summer. So I always even be telling my young boys, like, look, like when you think about planning out your life, understanding the season you in and what you harvested in that season and being okay with knowing, like, I don't need this winter coat right now. It's 90 degrees outside. But some people like, I got all these clothes. I ain't been wearing them. Bro, there's no need for it, right? So when we think about juggling, it's like being able to say, okay, how can I, what word, is a C word, it'll come to me. But basically, like in a nutshell, like how can I be able to compartmentalize and say, okay, this is priority, this is not, and be okay with that. Like, the last thing I'm gonna say on the subject is just being at the point where it's like understanding that like rest is a part of like productivity as well. Like, for sure, we don't give rest enough respect. Like, goddamn them kids that don't appreciate naps because it's like
I would love a nap time in the middle of my day.
Like, oh, I get one. I'm getting one in. Like, but I feel like creating the freedom of my schedule to be able to do so. But resting allows, especially as creatives, it gives us that bandwidth to be able to think, to be able to. Because if you constantly move, and when do you have that window opportunity to be able to create? So, when we think about juggling, just to kind of land a plane on it, it all comes full circle. Just understanding, like, this is what season I'm in right now, and this is what I'm going to put my energy into. That don't mean I forgot about this. That don't mean that this isn't a priority. It's just not prioritized right now because it ain't the season for it.
I also...
No, you good.
Absolutely, let's go.
You say his 3 things for the day. You're good. Me and you at this point.
I also feel like sometimes when I put something into place, like, so once I've already done all the steps, like, whatever, 1, 2, 3, my to-do list, and once that's already in play, for me, more so here recently, I've been able to just lean on faith when it comes to allowing that to play out however it's going to play out.
For sure.
So it's like, even like the word planning is like, a lot of times I'm getting to a place where, okay, it's not my plan. So it's like, as long as I do what I need to do and I done planned it out, like even here so recently, I had a situation where I had to I was sad, cry to tears, do all the things. Because one thing about me, I'm going to allow myself to, like, I'm going to feel all the feels.
Get them out.
But after that's done, I'm going to get to business. All right, these are the things that I have to do. And then it's in God's hand after
100%.
So.
Want to make God laugh? Tell me your plans. That old type of...
You were holding that one?
That's a known saying.
It was a good placement. I mean, it was a good timing.
No facts.
I think even to your point, like, that's literally like when it's like, Jesus take the wheel or like God take the wheel. That's that. Like, that's faith in action. Like, we have a certain amount of willpower that can get us to certain places. but that's only 10% of the. It feel like because it's 100% of our effort that we in control, but that's just 10% of what's really going on.
Right.
90% is everything conspiring together in God's ordained order to be like, okay, this is what it's going to end up being. But I do think that within our decision making, us having a free will to be able to make the decisions, it does alter the course of action because it's like, all right, you want to go that way? I'm gonna let you. But if you in alignment, you know what I mean. That's why it's very key to pray for alignment. A lot of people pray for discernment, and that's good. But praying to be in alignment within that discernment is important as well because it's like, all right, I don't just want to have the discernment to recognize something. I want to also make sure that what I'm discerning aligns with the bigger picture.
Here you go.
And the bigger picture is not what I can see, but it's like what God can see. So I understand that in totality. And I agree, you know what I mean? Just letting God handle it. Like, all right, you got it. I literally would say, yo, I cast this burden on you.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Like, it's like when you call your mom or your dad or your big brother, you like, you take this on. You more equipped for this than I am.
I'm
like,
hop in the passenger seat. You got it. Like, you just
go ahead, do
no
you.
Complaints.
Yeah, no complaints at all. Just, you know, and then sometimes, you know, you hit the you question like, oh wait, what's going on? But you just gotta know like it's gonna get good.
Yes.
All right, you got it.
It's nothing like them little what they call.
That's the name of it. That's if you could.
The Philly potholes.
Oh
Lord, yeah.
When life hit you with one of them.
They said I heard when you hit a Philly pothole.
It was just in the road. Like it was nowhere.
I heard when you hit a Philly pothole, they say the P word.
Yo, I'm on Broad Street one time. I had to hop out the car. My little self hopping out the car like, yo, is everything okay down there? Tyra, you good? All right. I gotta get out of here.
You start thinking of all types of stuff. Man, I hope I ain't crack my OU pin. It's like, I don't even know where the OU pin at.
No, the manifold.
I think that was my exhaust.
I started thinking like down my life, like who's available to come pick me up right now in the middle of North Philly.
Started thinking about denying that AAA. I should have got. They said I could 3 months.
It
free.
just
I said no.
Herpes.
We were just talking about decision making. Yeah, that's one of those decisions you be like, wait a minute.
That's what growth come in at because that maturity makes you understand. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take that.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Especially y'all gonna offer me a little 30-day free trial. I'm gonna go ahead and accept it.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what I mean?
And also to piggyback or continue to piggyback off that is I know we had a conversation the other day about like treating yourself in certain spaces, 100%. Or whatever, you know, pouring into yourself. And I was telling you that when the offer came through, then I would treat myself, whatever. So that was another thing. Once it was done.
Also, that actually came through.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Appreciate that, miss. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And
this is news to me. Last I talked.
Yeah, we ain't talking about. Yeah, we ain't talking about it.
So congrats.
This
Clue's fourth job since I met him 3 months ago.
I wish we had like little like.
It's not a joke. Y'all laughing. This is not a joke. I know him for 3 months. 4th job. Like he's not stable. So we're gonna be doing this clap again in about 3 weeks. This is our 3rd time clapping for this man getting a job.
Can we give him some confetti next time? Like what?
Please, like that's why I keep trying to get some real celebration. Like niggas ain't celebrating properly, right?
Seriously.
But
it's how to celebrate this. This is for a baby shower.
Hey Tommy.
Like dog, dang, like hit me down.
Anyway, yeah, so you know, I treated myself, bought myself a bunch of shit, whatever.
Haircut sharp.
Appreciate that, sir. Set up the honeymoon, booked the honeymoon, Joe, want to get that out the way, whatever. Thing. Yeah, so there's a lot of shit that I was like, all right, cool, that's done. Let's start like kind of, you know, setting up some shit for the next season, whatever, make sure everything's settled. So that was like a load off my mind and like cleared out the way for me to, all right, cool, now we can da-da-da. So yeah, so.
And speaking of honeymoons, man, let's upgrade from now on. Can you just stop calling her your girl and just please give that woman her rightful title as fiance?
So it's fun.
It's not funny. I'm just saying, like she earned the right to not be called my girl no more.
So this is funny. This is funny that I say that. So me personally, I think the fiance title, I don't think nothing wrong with it, but I do think it's kind of just Joe and where I think it's like
I get where you're going with it.
It's kind of just like extra, but once you're my wife, I would never say that then. I feel that's like the ultimate title. I feel it's like it's a weird stopgap to just use it temporarily, just to get to we already know what we leading to, whatever. But I actually, what do you think, my is the like you get that, or you feel like no, nigga, once I'm fiance, call me fiance properly, and then you know we move on after that. I'm your wife. Both titles hold proper weight.
It's definitely fiance for sure, but also to your point, like when you I feel like the feeling that you have about that word is because women be like, I'm a fiance, I'm a fiance. So
and I don't feel like the woman should say it. Like,
right. So to your point, that's why I feel like you feel that way. But I think like, I'm I've upgraded my lifestyle. Girlfriend, my girl. Yeah.
I think I talk about me. You're not referring to me.
I got a cute little piece on my finger to represent the new title that I have. Like, because if I'm the associate at the company and then I become the boss, I mean,
she got a point.
Yeah. So Beyonce me. Yeah.
To his other point, I can understand how, because a lot of people don't make it past that. So it's like they become a fiance and they're just like, what happened to the engagement?
So to you, it's a trial run.
You gotta see what's going on. It's like the date gotta be set. Like then you become a fiance when the wedding date is set. Because everybody get engaged and then it's like, well, what happened? It just don't happen. You don't hear nothing. So I understand. Like I don't use pet names. Like I don't like being called babe. I don't really say babe. So a fiance not in that same category. I'm just saying I can understand how you feel like the overutilization or just being like obnoxious. But I do think she earned the right.
Yeah, I would never say I would never say she did earn the right or it's not, but it's like my goal. Maybe because we always talk about foresight and looking down the road. I'm so set on
my wife.
Ultimate time. Yeah. But
this is the first time you explained it. Normally you just like my girl. Like, appreciate the explanation.
But I've had people have said, yeah, why you always say? Why? It's like it's kind of just
like a habit.
Yeah. But I actually look forward to saying like wife though. Because that's like what it's really about anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But to pivot a little bit, whatever. Would y'all, either you could start. Would you say, either currently or in the past or whatever, do you believe being at peace and being happy are two different things? I was having a conversation with someone and we was talking about that. We was having a discussion about that, and he was like, "Yeah, Q, like I think you're at peace, but I don't think you're happy." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Yeah," and what his logic was, he's like, "Yeah, I feel like of course." Wolf don't like when I get dark, but if it all ended tomorrow, I think you'd be happy about how your life was. I think because you have certain goals and milestones and projections. Okay, I understand projections in mind that you wouldn't be happy about that. You could be at peace maybe during the process and the journey, but I don't think you're happy. And I was like, I'm not. I could see where you're going with that, but I can't really fully agree with it. I feel like I am happy, but I get the peace emphasis, but. Overall, I thought it was an interesting distinguishment. So do y'all have any thoughts about that? And currently right now, would you say you are happy and or you are at peace or both?
Nah, you going?
I was gonna let you. Oh, okay. I was gonna let her guess.
So this is deep, but I don't believe in happiness. I feel like happiness is momentarily. I feel like happiness is, how do I put this? Happiness is kind of like it's fleeting.
It's fleeting, yeah.
Talk about that real soon.
So when I think of the word peace, I think of that is internal. That is how I show up. That is more of something that you get over the time through doing the work and through allowing God to work to do it.
Like it could be a constant.
There you go. There you go. So it's like, with that is like his peace surpasses and succumbs anything that we could possibly be going through at any point in time in our life. So I just feel like peace is the true goal. And if you're in alignment, then you kind of always have it. And it goes with you wherever you go.
So peace, real quick. So peace, you would say it can't be fleeting?
It's not that it can't be fleeting. I just think that your faith determines how much you actually possess.
Yeah, because to her point, peace, you can have peace in a chaotic state, because like that goes to like your whole outside environment controlling your internal space and atmosphere. So I don't think it's fleeting, but like we always say, happiness is definitely a fleeting emotion. So to say you're not happy, I mean, you probably wasn't in that moment. You follow what I'm saying? But let's more so pivot to like peace and contentment, because I feel like that's where people confuse happiness. People think about happiness as a destination, right? But I feel like content, although it's not the final destination, it is a milestone, right? To be like, you know what? I'm content with where I'm at right now. So because I'm content, it allows me to be happy with what I have. But if I'm not content, the happiness can never be present because I'm always be constantly looking for what's next or what else should I be doing. When we think about peace, men and general, we strive for peace. We thrive in peace. That's literally the ultimate goal. And in most cases, we understand that you gotta overcome instead of succumbing to the chaos to be able to arrive at peace. So to say that you at a peaceful state, yeah, that might just mean like, all right, cool, life is cool, or whatever the case may be. But the contentness is where you like, oh, you know what? Like, look what I did. Like I'm happy I built what I got going on around me, and it allows for you to smile and be like, you know what? I'm happy. Like, but as far as in just like happiness itself, it's like, bro, like literally you could be irritated in 2 seconds and then be happy again. So that's why people shouldn't. When you said I don't believe in happiness, I understood exactly what you meant. Even if somebody be like, well, what you mean by that? It's like, no, I get it. It's like, it's a myth. It's not a myth to say you don't have moments of happiness. It's a myth to think that you're supposed to be happy all day, every day. Right. It just, that's not real. Right. 4 seasons for a reason. Literally, like when we think about the word emotion just means energy and motion. Emotions is fleeting. It's not something that you can't stay happy all day. You can't stay mad all day. You can't, too many things and variables. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's too many things that's going to change that makes you jump into these different states. So happiness being a part of that joy, that prosperous, that feeling is all intertwined. There's no way to be able to maintain that all day. You wouldn't even know what happiness is if you was happy all day. We only can identify it because it comes and goes.
So, yes, ma'am.
I also feel like happiness is based on what's going on around you, and peace is internal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to your point, like what I would ask is, what are you juggling right now that your friend would, like, you know, if I'm you in your position, I'm like, okay, what am I juggling right now? What could be like causing me stress? What could be making me look like, you know, I'm boggled down by something or I'm burdened by something that would even cause him to think or feel that I might possibly have peace, but not be happy.
Well, I think that was more so about his perception of even himself in work. He was like, yeah, I'm not happy. So like
he projected.
Yeah, so I think that was just his rule.
Right.
Or whatever. But to bring back to your points where I thought all of those is interesting. So I guess would you say also is a way of saying it where it's like if you don't have a certain level or foundation of peace, well, once you have a certain level of foundation of peace, then I guess you're able to have more happy moments. To even to respond to the point like you don't believe in happiness, you know, is there still something to be said about how much you are happy or how much happiness is filled in your life? Because, you know, the people who have the least amount of happy moments, I feel that's also not a good reality to be in as well. So I think it should not still be a goal to be like, no, like most things in my life, most people in my life, where I work at, where I spend most of my time, where I live at, where I lay my head down, my kids, I'm happy. But of course, my kid didn't know me, my girl didn't know me, my job didn't know me that day, my job, you know, those things going to happen. But the most part, it still should be like, a lot of beacons of happiness.
Yeah.
That come from contentness.
The peace part?
The happiness. You can't be, that's where you can find reason to be happy. Because like you just said, yeah, my job annoying me, but I'm happy that I get paid every Friday. My kid get on my nerves, but I love my kid. Like, that's where you find contentness and understanding. Like, all right, but I do believe that is intentional for sure. Like, you can see shit or you can see sugar. That's up to you.
Right. I believe in joy. So it's not like I don't believe, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, I don't know, when I think happiness, for me, I think like man-made. Like, I don't know. It's just something about it is like, see, joy is in the Bible. So I know that that's a thing, you know?
Interesting. Okay.
I don't see happiness.
What's the definition of happiness? Anybody? I know nobody just got it offhand, but do we have any type of context to say, like, I'm pretty sure joy would be in there somewhere, but I want to know like the full, because that's interesting. I didn't think about that. I like that.
We'll do it later.
Yeah, right.
GPT.
Want me to do it?
You take you 2 seconds.
All right, that's right. So happy or happiness?
Happiness.
All right, type of happiness.
That made me think of that song, Love and Happiness. That's it.
Is that a church song?
Take us there.
No.
The quality, happiness is good fortune, pleasure, contentment, joy.
So contentment, joy, and you said good pleasure, and what was the first word? Quality?
Good fortune.
Good fortune.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, but that was it. So moving on. Another thing we spoke about recently is the idea of like when you're dating or, you know, in a place of just being single, whatever, the idea of trying to control certain paces, you know, because when you deal with other people's energies and, you know, their projections of the world, I don't say traumas, but, you know, everybody has different spaces and different intentions, you know, at times you can try to find compatibility in that. And you could be at a different point in your life, different path, different speed. And I feel you could try to control that pace a little bit too much because you could be ready for certain things, but then the other person could be ready for like something else. And I feel sometimes, especially men, we get caught up in trying to control that pace too much because, you know, a lot of men try to
think of the opposite.
Okay, cool. So, you know, I'll just land it there. But, you know, what are your thoughts about, you know, when you're in that single space and those moments trying to deal with other people, date them and trying to match your pace with their pace, you know, in general? Has there been times when you've had times like, oh, yeah, we weren't at the same point, so there was some conflict and, you know, pleasure?
I definitely believe in there should be some type of pace. Like there should be some like steps. Like we should be friends. We should be, you know,
like graduation. Like it should be,
right. There should be some form of development. I don't, where I am, I don't want to like I don't want it to
circles.
You know what I mean? Round and round. Like this not 2021 no more. Yeah, like no, sure. I'm not that. Not so
pandemic time.
You know what I mean? No, not. I was saying age. Not like
pandemic. Two things can be true at once. a lot went on in that time.
Right. So like I'm not 20. I'm not 21 anymore. So I don't want to like just like even like when we was talking about the whole my girl thing. I don't even believe in like me and these beliefs. Like the word girlfriend and stuff like that. Like, it's just like, let's be friends. Let's get to know each other. Let's me see you in the light of you being around your homies or how you treat your mom or how people perceive you. You know what I mean? Like, let's really slow this down a little bit because I think we live in such a generation where there's so much rushing. There's so much like, oh, I got to do this so then I can get to this. And then it's like, no, what are we in a rush for? Like, this is my life we talking about here.
But you saying you don't believe in the girlfriend part?
I mean, it depends on like where you are and your.
Oh, just not rushing to that point.
No, I just like that title for me is like, no, I don't want to, like, don't.
I remember you saying that before. Like, I'm not doing no more relationships. It's like, I guess you'd call it dating and then like engage or something like that. Is
right? No, it's like be my best friend, be somebody who I'm like getting to know, I'm comfortable with, all of the things, and then it's like, okay, engagement. Yeah. I mean. Everybody looks at it differently.
So essentially what I said. She just broke it down.
Everybody looks at it differently, but yeah.
No, but I can get that too. I feel like so when we start talking about controlling the pace, I've seen in more cases than not, or whatever the case may be, like that, especially if, you know, people get intimate extremely quick, that starts to expedite the pace, right? I feel like what people have to do is eliminate your preconceived notion of how you view what a relationship is, what a friendship is, what a marriage is, what an engagement is, because these preconceived notions is why people put unrealistic expectations on the things as well as an unrealistic timeline, right? So when we start talking about the pace of things, somebody feel like, oh, well, we having sex, so we should be moving towards a relationship, or we're in a relationship, so we should be moving towards marriage, not even understanding what it takes. Like, there's a certain person you have to become to be able to possess these titles. You don't become a CEO with a admin mindset. You know what I mean? You got to be able to see all of the pillars to be able to say, you know what, I can handle this level of responsibility. So when I'm thinking about pace, I think about I'm not going to accept more than I'm willing to give, right? And I'm not, that's not even about being equally yoked and reciprocity, because I feel like that's also a misconception where people think equally yoked mean doing the exact same thing. Reciprocity is I gave you 10, you give me 10. I feel like it's proportion to the effort in which it costs you. So if $100 to me is $1,000 to you, that's being equally yoked. Now that might not be equal mathematically on the numbers, but if I have way more to give and it takes less for me to do it and you have less, but you give it your all, that still could be a form of being equally yoked. But with so many people having these preconceived notions of thinking, oh, I'm gonna match your energy, or I'm gonna do to you for you what you do for me, it's like, if I know that I'm not really willing to go there for you, I'm not gonna allow you to go there for me. And I had to learn to not try to control the pace in a sense of slowing it down, right? Because when I'm like, oh, you moving a little too fast, sure, you gotta slow down. It's like, you calling me babe, you doing all this, I don't really do the pat. I had to say, you know what? You can call me babe, I'm not calling you babe. So I can't control how fast you moving. Yeah. I'm just not gonna, because that's where we create the delusion where it's like, and I always try to track that and be like, all right, well, I didn't give you no evidence to support your delusion. Yeah. I didn't tell you things you wanted to hear. I didn't put you in a space that making you think that this pace was okay. I just took my hands off the wheel and said, you know what? Maybe this is how this person operates and maybe this is their flow, and I'll allow them to get there when they get there. It's like if we driving in a car and you doing 90 and I'm doing 60, I'm gonna continue to do the speed limit. Yeah. I see you when I get there, but what you're not gonna do is get there 20 minutes before me and be like, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? You did 90 the whole way, miss. I did 60, and that's why we didn't arrive at the same time. But to the development phase of it is like, we still moving in accordance because I'm still on my way. Yeah. I'll get there. You know what I mean?
And I feel like once people have shown you what their pace is, it's like, to your point, it shouldn't be like a rush in them or anything. It should just be you then determine like, okay, I'm cool with this pace, so I'm gonna stick around, or I'm not cool with this pace, so I'm out. So I just feel like that honesty piece, and you don't have to like necessarily be in a relationship for it to be like, okay, it's just me and you. Like we working on this thing, but it's that communication, it's that honesty, it's those boundaries, it's those expectations. Sure. Are we on the same page about this? If we're not on the same page, let's reevaluate.
Yeah. Down to but another thing too, to that point, I feel like that's where titles can alter things, because when I talk about people having expectations, like, it's like, if you just talking to somebody, right, and you don't hear from them all day, you might just check in, you know, but like when you get in a relationship, you're like, oh, I gotta talk to you all day. I gotta talk to you every day. And it's like, I look at it like, allow things to flow. Like, I don't like when somebody be like, do you miss me? it's like, now you just made me not miss you, because it's like, why did you ask me? Do I miss? Like, it's so forced. It's like, and I feel like, or like trying to allude to, like, my big thing is, don't teach me how to be a man. I've been a man my entire life. I don't need to be, if I'm not doing things in accordance to how you like things, then you could prefer or not prefer to deal with it. But what I don't need is subtle hints or subtle suggestions. Now, this ain't to say subtle hints ain't good when it's like, all right, you know, getting to know somebody, all right, yeah, I like this type of stuff, but I do what I want with that information. I don't need the subtle hints that ends with it being almost like you're trying to guide or direct me. You know what I mean? So when we think about it in totality, like, people just tear a title and they're like, all right, well, because you're my girlfriend, you have to do this, or because I'm your boyfriend, it's like, no, like, allow for it to be what it is, and if it flow, then it'll flow. And if that's why when people hear go with the flow, they think that mean no direction. No, go with the flow mean going against the flow is where you get the most resistance, right? Because you're swimming against the current. If you try to put a ship against the current, it's not gonna go nowhere. It's gonna keep doing this. But if you just let it go with the flow of the current, you can sail from here to Africa. You follow what I'm saying? And a lot of people, relationships don't have smooth sailing because so many people be trying to control the flow, trying to control the current. And it's like, nah, like, these things are put in place for a reason. You don't know who you're dealing with if you don't allow them to show who they really are. If you feel like you're going to try to help them navigate the space because you want them to fit in the box that you created, then you're going to always end up with a result that you didn't prepare for when they actually become who they've been this entire time.
Yeah. And the good thing about love is it happens naturally. So it's like, we can try to put whatever we want into place, you know, but you getting to know somebody, then one day y'all just, I don't know, somewhere, Dave and Buster, there you go. Like, wait, I think I love this person. Hold up, what's going on here?
What's that little feeling I feel? I don't know what this is.
But out of curiosity, so is there a certain time, how you imagine, not imagine, but how you know, express this, is there a certain time frame where you could be in that friend stage where figuring out and then we're engaged, or before we get to engagement, that's like, it's going too long, we to get engaged, so it's clearly not, you know.
Yeah, I think
it's time for the off ramp on this road.
Right. Yeah, like a conversation needs to be had if that's the direction in which we feel like we're going in. Like, you know, two mature adults, like, hey, I want to marry you. I see myself spending the rest of my life with you. Oh, what does that look like? How do we move forward with that? And then it's like, if that's not what you want, then okay. If that's what you want, and maybe I don't want that, or I want that and you don't want that, then neither one of us lost anything because we decided to be friends.
Right. That's good while it lasted. Yeah.
I always say, I think that the what is already be established. Like, I already know, like, all right, yeah, like this, I could see myself marrying this person, right? The when is to be determined. So it's like, I know what I want, but when I want it is determined by how you carrying it, you know, how we interact, these different seasons that we find ourselves in, you know, and if it ultimately aligns, because it's not really a challenge to identify wifey material. I feel like men can write down what wifey material is, right? And it's like the subjectivity of it comes out to preferences. Like, what a man prefer his wife to look like, what type of food he prefer her to make, you know, what type of profession he prefer her to. That's the subjectivity of it. But the character standpoint of it, it's pretty cookie cutter. Like, a man will say it 20 times out of 20 what wifey material is. And for the people, for the ladies that might be watching, like, well, what is it? We always going to say it come down to how you carry yourself. We always going to say it come down to how you represent us. We always going to say it come down to how much peace you can provide. Providing peace is not going internally to give it to us. It means do not create a chaotic atmosphere for us. And it's always going to be determined by, like I said, really just like the respect you have for yourself, the respect you have for us, the example you can set for the children. So it's so many things that align with you just being a good person. Are you honest? You know what I mean? You have a certain level of morals. You have a certain specific set of values. Those things are not subjective when it comes to being a man. We all be like, yep. We can see why he. That's why I want to be like, what he doing with her? You don't need, because you can't even see the value she brings, because it's not even external. It's not in her butt. It's not in her chest. It's not in her physical appearance. It's in her aura. It's in how she carry herself. It's in how everything need to be said in her silence more so than it's about being like this. And this is the thing that we pay attention to. You follow what I'm saying? So these things are black and white, whereas though the subjectivity of it is, oh, I want a woman that looks like this, who can cook like that, who makes this amount. We don't care about the subjectivity of it. We'll be like, all right, I understand why she's engaged. And if y'all could kind of understand that, then y'all be able to say, okay, look, that's wifey material. Where though you ask a woman what makes a husband, it's going to start at protect and provide, and then after that, it's going to go straight to the subjectivity. But I understand because then we value different things. It's like, you know, what we value and move the needle for us don't move the needle for them, and that's what people need to understand and accept. Like, I don't expect a woman to look at the world the way I see the world, and I don't expect a woman to think that I'm gonna see the world the way she see the world. I want it to be a balance where it's like, okay, this is how I see it, and because I see it this way, and this is how you see it, this is how we correlate these things to make for a healthy dynamic in total. But, you know.
Any thoughts, Miss?
Thought that was good.
No. I can't snap right now. My hand got messed up playing basketball.
You forgot one of your dunks, though. The crash out part.
Oh, I ain't done.
No.
We still got a lot more to shoot.
Oh, first verse? All right, cool.
We
35?
cool. Yeah, we
say less. Oh, man. So,
it just feels this conversation so seamless. It felt like we've been kicking it for an hour and 30 minutes.
Other thing I'm gonna say is
did you run out of topics?
I don't know. We was talking about when back to the
let me stop it.
The limbo part when life is pending. And another thing we was talking about reason. It's the funny thing about this show is like, shout out to we was talking about the 1%ers, the viewers of the community of the show, whatever. And a lot of people don't know is like we do a lot of talking about the show before we get here, after the show, a lot of recap, a lot of course correction, a lot of troubleshooting, whatever. So a lot of these things, we be like, how about this? And we think about this in reflection. He always not appreciating my efforts on the show and this and that.
Don't do that.
We always get, well, that is a true fact. But we always give each other flowers. And so it's just funny because a lot of these conversations, when we kind of like, etch it out, it kind of comes out natural when we pick our guests, whatever. Okay. So, so that's how you usually go. Anyway, back to the flow. We was talking about the limbo and pending. Another thing we was talking about recently was like when life is pending, especially, when you in touch with God and alignment, whatever, you have to evaluate a lot of stuff that's going on to make sure you're even ready for the next chapter. Yeah. So I feel like sometimes we can get frustrated with that waiting period, that limbo period when you're pending, and then it's time we're like, maybe I'm truly, and we spoke this before, like maybe I'm truly not even ready for that next step. I kind of got to figure out some things and road.
I'm saying we when it's me, motherfucker.
We spoke about this.
No, I'm we. You listened.
I facilitated it. But
your question, let him there.
No, you'll see. What you don't know is Q will present some profound stuff and forget his source.
My man's hashtag.
He's like, one time this wise person. Who was the person that I was just on the phone for 3 hours? We just had this whole conversation.
Like I said, we took a lot. Yeah. But when life is pending, have you ever been at that point where it's like certain things you realize, oh no, this had to get fixed where I even was able to go to that next step properly. So you can speak about that, any situation that you had where it's like.
Absolutely. I think there were times where I was like in a season of waiting. Like, so I did a lot of years of being in entrepreneurship. But in my time of being in entrepreneurship, I really, 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 with all my heart, thought that I was ready to do my corporate big girl job. So I'm like, okay, these are the seasons in which I saw it happening for myself. Like when I'm just graduated college and whatever. So to me, I'm like, okay.
21.
Seriously.
I'm like, all of my credentials to me are lining up. Like my skill set, But to your point, the way God would have it is I had to wait. But in that waiting season, he prepped me, he crafted me, he made it so that when that moment did come, that I had spent all this time trying to work, right? Like trying to do it myself and applying to this place and asking this person to like network here and reference there. And so all of my works was just going to waste because that's not what he had for me in that season. Yeah. But when it was time, it was seamless. It was like getting a call back. It was like, okay, well, this process is very hard. I want you to know it's very competitive. Every time they said it's competitive, I'm like, okay, and
prepare.
Like, and just every step of the way, I took my hand off of it. I wasn't even no longer looking for a position at that time. So it was like when it came, it really came. And it really was in the industry that I wanted to be, really was doing the stuff that I had already done the work into. I had started my own clothing boutique before that even made me qualified. So if I would have did it when I wanted to, the clothing boutique never even would have been a thing. I would have never been able to see the growth in my own character to even arrive to that point. So it's like,
and the experience.
There you go.
I think that's the key to everything you just said. Like that, when we ask for it, it's happening. The what and the when. What we ask for is happening. When is to be determined, right? And it comes down to that preparation. It's like you always could look back. If you ever go look at your goals from 5 years ago, you'll realize that you accomplished them last year. You know what I mean? In real time, you'll be like, yo, I wrote this in 2020 and now I accomplished it. And it's because you started to become refined in that season. And like Fenston, right? Like I always pray for better financial knowledge and understanding, right? Because as the constantly developing man, like I understand, like even when it comes to developing wealth is developed. It's not something that you just become. You don't become wealthy. It's literally a mindset, and then it's a bunch of habits and skill sets and that turn into assets that then generate wealth or whatever the case may be. And it's like, I always ask for that, and then we talk about this limbo season. It's like I've been applying for spots right now. When I'm here, it's easy for me to push my resources, right? But where I'm at now, and it's like that the protocol is a little different. So when I'm telling you I'm applying for spot at the spot at the spot at the spot, it's something different every time. Oh, we need this document, we need that. I don't know, just half of the stuff they ask me for. We need this, we need that, and it's like we already know the 3 steps of getting approved is really just the background check, the income requirements, and then the credit, right? But for me, criminal record. So background check has always been something that hindered me in the past, right? So I automatically, all right, then at one point, you know, credit fluctuates. Sometimes I got good credit, sometimes we ain't fixing it. We in a rebuilding season. And then income has always been something that I have, but I'm a hustler first. So it was verifying it, being on all of the different, it's like, I ain't really never had that all together. So going through this process, it forced me. I already started preparing myself. That's why it's so funny, because my habits already got better. Like I got way more responsible. I got way more started to prioritize. So that's been like a thing. But when I actually got approved in this season, it felt different because I looked and was like, I actually qualify for this spot that I had. Like I didn't finesse in no way, shape, form, or fashion to get here. Like I didn't get my homie to make this, or I didn't get this person to co-sign that, or I didn't get none of these things. It was like, no, like all of these denials prepared me, and it made me understand the process. Like, all right, let me actually get my tax returns. Let me actually, my credit was cool. Let me all right, cool, the credit part, all right, my credit are not popping up, but let me make sure I have all of these different things in order. And if I wouldn't have kept getting denied, I would have never did that. So when we think that God is halting us or we in this waiting period, it's like, no, you literally have to become the version of yourself that's qualified to get what you're asking for, or you're not going to be able to sustain it. So many people go after things that they can't maintain and sustain. And this is in every facet of life. You want to work a job that you're not qualified for. Like you want to be the boss, but don't know what it takes to do that. You want to get into a relationship that turned into a marriage, but don't have the qualifications to carry that title and that responsibility and the obligation that come with it, because that's the only thing that separates it. It becomes a different level of obligation, not entitlement. We're talking about obligation and responsibility where it becomes a duty. Like when you say and take these vows, it becomes your duty to do these things, so you don't have the leeway of just rushing. See, because I feel like a relationship is a relationship even inside of a marriage, right? If the relationship stink, the marriage gonna stink. But you don't realize that you're married until you're trying to get away from the relationship. See, the relationship, you can just walk away like, you know what, it's not working. When you marry, you know what I mean? That's one of the things that I got through observation of seeing how marriages come to a divorce. It's like, oh, it's easy to walk away from a relationship. It ain't easy to walk away from it. It's so many different variables. So you got to know these things going into it, which is why they say that when you tie the knot, the goal is to never untie the knot. But in the event that you do, you need to understand that. So become qualified. Like, I don't want to bear no title that I'm not qualified to carry. Like, I was a father before I was ready to be a father, but in those seasons, I understand fatherhood, and it's like, okay, now anytime I have more children, it's like, okay, yeah, I know for a fact I'm just knocking this out of the park. All of my relationships prepared me for everything. Like when I tell you I shedded so much skin through every level and every layer of every relationship, every dating experience. I don't understand why people hate dating. It's like, why would you not like dating, or not? Why would you feel like you had a 3-4 year relationship and it was wasted and you didn't get them because it didn't end the way you wanted it to end? You're just gonna disregard all of the other things you follow what I'm saying? When we talked about the being prepared, it's like, if you're not in a predicament to receive it and you do, you're gonna mess it up. You follow what I'm saying? So when we talk about you getting out of a relationship that you wasn't meant, you was never that thing that was blocking you was stopping you from getting all of the things. We hear people say, block your blessings, and these all sound like cliche common terms. It's a real thing. If you with a partner that don't have the same values and don't have the same mission, it's going to deter you from what you're trying to do. And in turn, it's blocking your blessing. Not because they have this ill will and this negative, what they call it, the evil eye and all of that. It don't mean that they literally don't want you to be blessed. It's literally that they are a roadblock. They don't always got to be somebody you dislike. It could be somebody you love a lot. This could be your soulmate that you think that you just can't get out of that toxic situation that been in this limbo phase for 9 years, but you see more and want more for yourself, but you just keep saying, oh, I want to with them, I want it with them, I want it with them. And we could choose the movie, but we can't always choose the cast. Sometimes the cast members going to change, but the plot got to stay the same, and the end got to be the end, because ultimately that we know what we're going after. And, you know, just to land a plane on just getting out of your own way is sometimes it come down to that knowing, like, all right, you know what? I can't be afraid of what's on the other end of what this breakup might look like. I can't be afraid on what the other end of what leaving the job might look like. I can't be afraid of what's on the other end of getting rid of these friends. I can't be afraid of that, because if I really said that I have faith and I'm steadfast in my faith, it's going to come down to me saying, you know what, God, I don't know what it look like over there, but I'm going to trust that when I go over there, it's going to look familiar, because you already prepared me and you already prepared it, or I wouldn't be over here. And that just all go back into the alignment and the flow of things. But, you know, just getting out of your own way and allowing that thing to be what it is.
Facts. And to piggyback off a few things both of you guys said, I remember years ago when I was like, felt like I was just I feel like I was looking at my 30s and older age. I was like, nah, I'm not about to make it. Like, I was like, I need to make a change quick, or I'm about to become a shell of myself as a man. And I was like, I always had like higher projections, higher aspirations, higher thoughts myself. And I was like, if I don't make a move now, I'm gonna run out of time. So at the time, I was like, I need to make a drastic change. That's how I got into the career and, you know, position I'm at now with the consulting and everything, whatever. And originally I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna figure out this shit where I'm gonna finesse and I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna make. At the time, I really was like looking at like my bosses. And I'm like, I don't know no bosses smarter than me. I don't know bosses that just know more shit than me. It's just they got that and I got this, so go get it. So it really was like, and I told him, I remember I was working with people at the time with my friend, like, yo, like I'm about to just I'm gonna try to get these 2 career paths. I never did this before. I don't know nobody in it. I'm gonna just go for it. I'm gonna apply to 1,000 jobs. I'm gonna do interviews, nonstop. And it started working. But to Will's point earlier, originally I didn't surprise myself. I was like, no, I'm gonna get this shit. Like anything I put my mind to, I'm gonna get it done. But once it happened, after a while, I kind of a little full of myself, and then like it was a burnout period, and I realized, oh yeah, I still wasn't fully qualified for 100%. It. I still had to really refine myself, polish myself, sharpen on my skill set to sustain that new space, that new, you know, world I was in, whatever, or it's going to be a flash of pain. I'll be back to where I started from, whatever. So after that, you know, after some things fell out, I'm, you know, lost a lot of shit, whatever. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So I had to build it back up, whatever. And then I got to a point now, fast forward, where, you know, like Wolf said, in 3 months, 4 jobs. Wolfman.
Cool, we working on it.
Yeah, Wolfman. But now I understand there's no longer finessing or lying or making something that's not what it is. Like, no, like I'm fully skilled. I'm fully who I say who I am, and now I can provide these skill sets and expertise actually, and it is what it is now, and it's all fully sustainable. So that was like a really full transition period.
Y'all talking real good.
No, 2 things. I had one thing I was gonna comment. Then you just said where you landed. I want to start real quick. We talk about like people will finesse their way to success, right? But I always say every corner you cut gonna come back to cut you.
Yourself.
You finessing yourself. You literally cutting out your experience. You cutting the corner is cutting out that wisdom. It's cutting out that knowledge. It's cutting out that development that it takes for you to become who you need to be to be able to sustain. And it's like we always talk about sustainability, and it's like, dog, it's taking the steps. When we hear about the steps, it's not literally, it's metaphorically, right? The steps is the actual steps that it take to become who you trying to be. So when you get there and say, you know what, yo, I was actually able to do this, I qualify, versus just getting thrusted into a role, thrusted into a position, and now you don't have that wisdom, you don't have that experience, you don't have that wherewithal to where to pull from, you don't have the tools in your toolbox because you skipped them. And it's like so many people on a fast track success. Oh, how can I do this? It's like, dog, you don't want to do that. You want it to be where it's like, how can I take the appropriate route so that when I get there, like if I'm in a gym, I don't want to start at 250. I want to work my way up. So when I take it off the weight, that weight not going to crash down on my chest. Now I'm asking for help. Now I need a spot. You know what I mean? And like one thing I'll say, what I was going to pivot to is what I did learn. And this like, it's easy for us to want things when we want it. And then one thing I learned in my last relationship, right? I really learned that I have a vision of how I want my family to be, right? To the point where it's like, I stop at nothing to have that family. But I really, like, I took on way too much too fast. And most men won't say that, right? Because we men, right? But it's like, for me, it wasn't like I didn't handle it or I couldn't handle it. It was looking at the strain that it caused on me to be able to do so, which made me realize, okay, I'm not rushing this process. Like, I know what I want. The goal is the goal. The result is the result. I'm always going to go in the direction that I want to go in. But as opposed to me, it's one thing to walk 2 miles by yourself. And when you get there, you know, like, all right, I just walked 2 miles. Another thing to walk 2 miles with a 500-pound weight, you know, or pushing a car. That 2 miles look a little different. So I say that to say, as men, man, I always say, like, we get mad because women don't give us slack, right? And when I say this, right, I want you to understand, it's like, you could give yourself slack before involving them, because women and children is never going to give you slack. They don't have to be as understanding as we want them to be. Like, we want them to understand what it takes to be us, right? And the fact of the matter is they can't. So then it makes us frustrated to say, well, you know, I had this going on. But it's like, no, you said you was going And so for me as a man, and I've been working on that for years, starting with my children, like, you know what? I'm not going to say I'm going to do something that I'm not going to be able to do unless I know I could do it. And if life happens, my explanation is my explanation. I'm not mad at life happening. I'm not going to feel like you don't have to understand. That become my end all be all. Like, you know what? I don't expect my kids to understand if I say not right now. I don't expect my woman to understand if I say not right now. I understand, but I also don't go into it knowing that not right now is the first option. Right? It's like, all right, cool. You know what? Let me get myself together right now so that not right now is the last option and not the first option. Whereas though we know, we say, oh, well, what about when you want to build with a woman? It's like you can build, but you still have to get yourself to a certain level of then being able to build with more weight on it. Like you can't build a foundation on one leg. Right now, if you're the only pillar and you try to bring on another one, it's not going to be sustainable, no stability. But if you get yourself stable enough, when you bring on that extra sense of pressure that a woman going to bring, whether intentionally or unintentionally, you can handle it because you should already have your own car. You should already have your own apartment. Your credit should be our house. Your credit should look a certain way. It don't mean you got to go buy a house. It just means that these foundational things that you need to be able to thrive in manhood as an individual should be in order before you bring on a woman, because now everything she asking for is just extra. It's like, all right, cool. Like this stuff is underway, but if you try to build in that process and you still figuring it out, this is why they're not going to trust the guy. This is why they're not going to trust the leadership, because in turn they feel like you don't know where you're going, and because women, y'all want to steer the ship sometimes. It's the truth. It is what it is. I gotta bring it. No, for real. It's a need to know, right? It's a sense of control. They want to be in control of things that involve them. Sometimes even things that don't involve them, but mainly in things that involve them. So if you involve them in your journey and you know that they're going to want to know this and want to know that, and you don't have the answers prepared, or you just feel like you don't want to discuss that, then get all of those things in alignment so that it becomes clear. You walking into a situation that's the way it is, so you have no reason to question me because you see what it is. Is that a couch? Yes, it's a couch. Like, it's common sense, but what you going to put in that space right there? That's only a question because there's nothing there. And they already got an idea, well, it ain't nothing occupying that space, so let me give my suggestion. Maybe he don't know that a couch would be nice right there. So now I'm offended because you make a suggestion that I didn't ask. I already know I was putting the desk right there, but the desk not there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait. I'm going to get the desk first, and then you're going to come in and you're going to see a desk, and maybe you can say, you should have put a plan on that desk. All right, cool, decorate the desk. But what I don't need is giving you an empty space for you to tell me what you see, and now we at odds because I wasn't prepared for what I brought you into.
Oh, you had a few things to say, Mus?
To both of y'all point, it's no shortcut to greatness.
She held that point. That's good.
Good. And then you said something. You spoke about being burnout, qualified. Oh, the season in which you were speaking that you were in, humility came to me because it's like there will be times in our life where we think we have it all figured out, and then we'll get chin checked and be like, wait a minute, let me go sit back down because I might have did a little too much. I might have took that one a little too far.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I think just going into this year and just in general, if people just humbled themselves a little bit more, we would be able to, I guess, try to navigate through situations, and the way we show up would be different. So that humility piece, and I'm sure that's what you learned in that season.
Absolutely,
like, it changed you and probably how you approach stuff go forward.
Absolutely. I never forget, at the time I was like, this job had fell through, whatever, some bullshit happened, and I was like, nothing, I'm gonna get a new job, this is easy money, I got this shit figured out.
All right, Q, I got a confession. Yeah, offer letter got held up because I called your supervisor. I said he not ready.
He not ready for this, Lord. He not ready. Wolf, take the wheel.
I said he not ready. I work with him. You know what I mean? I've been evaluating his performance. This is his fourth job in 3 months.
Yeah, I get a vibe. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
And I said I need him for my company. So.
But so I'm like, this is easy, man. I'm gonna get a new job, this and that. And then 6 months pass. And then 6 months pass, all that, profitable savings and stocks that I put up over that time, stacked up, whatever, all that shit was done. Like, doing to do just to survive and sustain and everything, whatever, just had a newborn baby. So all that shit I was like, damn, all that shit I kind of accumulated just done now from the previous season to this current season. And then even the next job, it was less money than I originally had. But at that point, I was like, I can't afford to deny this one now. And then
then he's back at Wendy's.
Yeah, but what it taught me ultimately at that point, I was like, you know what? Cool, it is what it is. I'm not going to stop going for what I need at this point. I need this to sustain for the next season, whatever. This is needed for this current season, but I mean, I'm about to keep it for remaining seasons or whatever. So, it culminates to the next thing. And then, when I, so it all was lessons for sure. Yeah, for sure.
No, that's good. And it's like, the things that we try to hold on to typically are the first to go.
100%.
Because we didn't spend all this time like, oh, I have this over here. I have back to our plan thing. I have this over here. This is so great. Yay. And then as soon as the Lord like, oh no, but this is what's truly what I have for you. Then be like, that thing you was protecting. Yeah, let me get that right up off you real quick.
For sure.
Yeah, that's real. That's why I really learned how to detach my things from things. Like to detach myself from things. And it's to your point, like the things that we really try to hold on to, that's when I know I need to let go. Like I'm so self-aware now that when I catch myself trying to control the outcome or I literally say, you know what? I gotta let go. Like down to like, like, so we was naming all of my apartments that I was applying for. We was naming them after cars. You know how bad I wanted that Porsche. I showed my daughter the Porsche yesterday and she was like, and that is, nice. I understand why you were trying. I like, but kids to your point,
cars upgrades. Well, like my daughter's still stuck on the old car.
She like, because like it got 20-foot ceilings. I had so many ideas I had, like, and she just like, I'm like, content will go crazy. And she like, yeah, like I'm like, she understood, but to pivot away from the kids is like, that's when I knew. I'm like, yo, you know what? Because the spot that I ended up even going with was not even on my radar. Literally, let me give you a brief story of how this shit worked. Had a meeting with this was an impromptu meeting. This was we on the phone. We didn't had multiple phone calls. Let's do something formal. Let's meet up. Where we meet is lofts and apartments. I'm like, I might just look while we here or whatever. She just say, oh, you should go down the street and look at such and such. I'm like, what it look like? So it's very modern, woo. I never heard of it, never thought about it. And first time I was meeting this person in person ever. Do you know that ended up being a spot? Like I went down there, seen. They didn't even have a tour available for me. I got 10 minutes before my next tour come in. Let me just show you something real quick. Show me. I'm looking. I'm like, I don't like this layout. I told you, I don't like this layout. I'm still hung on a Porsche. I'm like, show me the bigger one. F that. She's like, yeah, but this one is $3,000 a month. I'm like, we talk about it. I'm like, you're like, I don't know if you should do that. I'm like, all right, you know what? It's way cheaper. Well, considerably. It's a little cheaper. And it's the same. And it's like, you know what? I go for it. And this ended up being the one. And it was like, it wasn't the one. That's what be so funny. Because it'd be like, God give you what you're supposed to have. And it's like, it really don't be off. You never settling, right? You never settling with what he give you. It just never be what you thought you wanted. It'd be like, I didn't want this. Like, I never woke up today and said, this was it, right? Yeah. And then when you get it, you like, it make all the sense in the world. Like everything after, because when we talk about clarity and foresight, when you have those limbo periods, it literally does this. It puts a blinder in front of your ability to see down the road. So the moment that you get in alignment and you say, okay, let me let go of trying to control this. Let me stop trying to protect it. Let me stop trying to have my vision set on this and say, let the goal be the goal. Let the outcome be the outcome. But let me not determine. I determine my input, but I can't determine God's input, right? Can't determine his timeline. So let me let go of all of that. Let me let it be. And then when you see it, then the shades get open and you can see clearly. So now the space started to fill itself. Whereas though the other space I'm trying to manufacture, you think I should make this the bedroom, or you think I should put this here. With this, it was like, it's very clear that this is what it is. This is what this is. This. And that's what it come down to, just being able to say. And even for anybody that's out there watching, man, it's like, I understand that need to know, that desire to want to be in control because you feel like this is my life, right? But in reality, it's like being able to say, yo, you know what? I want what's best for me, but I also more so want what God sees that's best for me, because what's best for me might not be in alignment with what God sees as best for me. And it might just be due to my limited perspective of what I think is best. I didn't know that option existed. That's the part. I didn't know. I looked on the apartments app. I looked on Zillow. I never found it. I met with somebody that I never would have really met with about a business that is going to happen, but it wasn't even something that I woke up that day saying, I want to have a discussion about this. And that one bit of me just going out on faith saying, let me sit with this person, was the piece that got me housing. Because technically, if you somewhere, you don't have a place to stay, what do you consider?
Homeless.
Yeah, you're homeless. So here I am in another state without a home.
Free spirit.
Literally.
He said, I ain't saying much, but I'm saying something.
Yeah, but I just want to try to understand. So, and it literally, like, having resources allow for me not to have shelter. That's good. Because people don't understand the difference. You can be homeless but have shelter. You don't have a place to call your own, you're homeless. So I had shelter, but I didn't have home. So being out there for that, and I was even talking to my daughter because I let them be known. And this was the first time, not the first time in my life, but it wasn't a money weight.
That's good. And
it took everything in me not to get. Nigga, we talked. Excuse my language. We talked about me getting hotels for weeks. I'm like, yo, give me the rate to get. But I'm like, you know what? That ain't what God. I'm not about to spend $1,400 every 2 weeks to stay at a hotel. I'm not doing that. That's rent. That don't make sense. Let me chill. Yo, can I stay on your couch? Yeah, bro, for sure. You know, having resources, being able to utilize that, it gave me that clarity to say, you know what, let me be patient with it. I told my homie, look, man, it might be the end of the month by the time I get off your couch. Then it was 10 days. And I told him, he tried to say, oh, yeah, bro, you know, you walk whatever. I said, get out of here. Like, nobody like adjusting. Like, I don't want you at my crib for a whole month when you could just go back to your city. But in reality, it ended up being that because I stopped, to your point of, like, you know what, I'm trying to protect this. And even the whole feel of, the embarrassment you feel, like saying like that pride.
Things, yeah.
So going back to your whole, and I don't say humble, about humility. That's my word.
That's it.
Even though they interchangeable, but you know, people got a disdain toward the word humble. So humility, having that humility, it was like, you know what? Who do I think I am that I'm too good to go through this? And I was just sitting on this boy couch. I prayed no matter what. I'm still praying to the couch on the couch. Like this is my space. And I just start smiling. I was just like, I just looked up and I started smiling and it hit me and I'm like, this is that moment before the breakthrough because I got so tapped into my humility, right? Feeling like, yo, you know what? I'm not too good to be here. Why do I think I'm better than this in predicament? Why do I think because I'm essentially resourceful and I have this and I have that and I have access to this and I make this that I'm above humility? Not that I wasn't having it, but I'm just sitting there like, yo, you know what? I'm grateful to even be here. But let's pivot real quick.
Also, to your point that's sticking out to me right now is y'all ask for help. Please do not be afraid to ask for help. People think y'all do not have to ask for help. Y'all are given these resources for a reason. The people who y'all know, the places where you are at, ask for help.
100%.
Like, you are okay. It's going to be well.
No, I agree. And I think to our point about it, you never know what, because we ask God for help and then God will put resources in front of us and we had too much pride to ask the person that God sent to us to help us.
Exactly.
So
you praying like,
God, I need help.
Yeah.
You got some.
That's your help. Man.
But that's why, to your point, that was one of the things that now I didn't make it like a big thing because ultimately I had all of the resources. I knew it was deeper than that. I asked for the help. I needed a person. Like, all right, let me shack at your spot, which takes a lot because I could have just grabbed the hotel. So, you know, to her point. But the other part of it is understanding when you ask God for stuff, you can't control how He gonna send it. Remember I said I asked for financial knowledge and understanding. I learned, filed all of my taxes, back taxes and all of that. Got proof of income where I got direct deposit paying me from my business, where it's like everything they asked me for was like, it was seamless because I didn't do the finesse. What goes back to your point, I didn't finesse my way. So it's like when you ask God to say, yo, like make me stronger, make me wiser, strengthen my discernment, He's gonna put you in predicaments that do all of the things. It's
gonna be uncomfortable.
How else will you learn if you're not put in a predicament to take the test, right? And when you fail the test, don't allow your pride to tell you to never take it again. Say, God, help me again. Like, what did I miss this time that I overlooked that got me back in this predicament? And then when you go to it again, this goes to you being prepared for your job. You was qualified because of that boutique, because had you never did that, stepped out on faith and said, I'm going to try to do this, even though I don't know all of the things. Now, when you go into a smaller role, you overqualified. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's for sure true, man. Make sure y'all get rid of that pride, man. Pride. Now you want me, I guess. I say a lot of people crash out because pride and ego be steering the ship. So you hear the term crash out, right? It's like people crash out because pride and ego is the captain of the ship. It's going to force you to crash out because what's controlling it is coming from a very low vibrational standpoint. It's not something that's of God. God is not here to adhere to your ego or to have grace for your pride. You got to get rid of that when you're in the presence of God, or if whatever, you know, you feel you doing that's connecting you to God in the higher sense.
It's going to be a stronghold.
So if you got too much pride to ask for help, you know, your ego telling you that, oh, no, I can't struggle, or I got to be head honcho, or I got to be big, or I got to be, you're going to crash out every single time. You're going to crash out because you're not going with the flow. You're trying to manipulate and control the situation through worldly matters.
And now you mad.
Now you mad because you crashed out. Now you mad at guy. Crazy because you ran out of gas. Crazy, man. But yeah.
Want to land plane?
Was that the end for you?
Yeah, I think we can. I think I enjoyed this conversation. I'm glad you came, Miss. It was a while since we had, a great lady on the show. Yeah. We always enjoy our lady conversations.
Oh yeah, it didn't been a while. So thank you for coming through. Such short notice, whatever. Was it short notice for you, or did I do good? Give you a good heads up, good enough heads up. Medium. I'm doing better. Growing. Yeah, but So I appreciate you joining the discussion at Insight. Always, you know what I mean? These are the conversations that we have. These are the conversations that we've had. And I always want for our audience to be able to get this. Why? Because We want y'all to get 1% better through everything, like 1% better in every area. Matter of fact, I'll give y'all some homework. Write down 5 different things that you can do to get 1% better in 5 different areas. So if you can get 1% better with your finances, 1% better with your communication, 1% better with, your sleeping schedule, 1% better with your vices, 1% better with your faith, you know what I mean? Like, just get 1% better, because the 1% start to accumulate over time, and it becomes and shows that massive growth that happened incrementally.
Compound interest.
Compound interest. You know what I mean? So as y'all know, as y'all let people know we grow. We don't want y'all to gatekeep this information. You don't have to be the bearer of this information. Send this out to your group chat. Open a discussion at work with your coworkers. Talk to your family about it. If there's a point that we made that y'all felt like we could have delved deeper into, take the conversation to your people and break it down. Yo, what did y'all think about this? What y'all think about that? Whatever the case may be, always share y'all thoughts in the comment section. And before I even plug all of my plugs, let's start with y'all. Where can they find you, S.A.?
Instagram, Yana.Tashia, TikTok, same name. And
Can you spell it out for him?
Yes.
No, for sure.
Okay. Yana, YONNA.Tashia, TASHEA, on both TikTok and Instagram.
What should we do on TikTok? The dance and
Oh, she's definitely.
I do foodie. I do fashion. I do travel. That's my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do experiences and stuff too. So things to do in the city.
Okay. Cool.
Before you,
And business.
I can't let you go
too.
without
Business
saying this.
too.
I'm proud of you though,
Because
I know how much internal work you did to even start to put your creative stuff first. You follow what I'm saying? So I seen how much creativity you invested into others, and how many of your ideas you gave away, how much you've assisted in developing, and now putting that energy into your content. And it's not sporadic no more. Like, you always show glimpses of it, right? You'll do a fashion haul here, or you'll do this, and then you'll disappear, right? And you'll be like, oh, I'm back working over here, I'm back doing this. But this is the first time where it's like, you've stepped, it's been over a year now, but regardless, this is my time to tell you, you stepped into your space and you've been operating, you've been flourishing. So I'm proud of you, and I commend you for that.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
For sure.
Well,
Q, right on the right side.
I do it. You want to say it for me?
No.
Right on Q Live, as in the right side. on QUE, right on Q Live.
Yeah, cool, man.
And everything.
Make sure y'all listen, man. Again, share this out. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube at the Wolf Network, the Wolf Has Spoken podcast. Make sure y'all get us on all platforms, all audio platforms. Make sure y'all download. Make sure y'all share. We appreciate the shares. Y'all can follow us on Instagram at wolfnetwork.WSC. Y'all know where y'all can find me at wolfWSC. And y'all know where y'all can find Ricky behind the camera, because he's not taking no more clients, because we got some discussions to have.
Yeah.
But with that being the case, man, we hope y'all enjoyed this episode. We always love bringing it to y'all. Like I'm going to say at the end it again, man, as y'all let people know we grow, and we want y'all to get 1% better, and just continue to grow. Until next time, man, the Wolf Has Spoken. I'll see y'all soon.
Shout out to the 1%ers.
Let's get it.